Okay. Hi guys. Sorry, you can't really see my face, but this is the best setup I have right now. Okay, so I wanted to do a separate, I'll scoot back a little bit. I wanted to do a separate video to show you how to use a protractor, because on the next math lesson, you have to use, we're measuring side length. So you're just measuring with a regular ruler, but you're also measuring the angles. So I want to talk to you about angles for a minute, and then we'll get into the math lesson. Okay, so an angle is, first of all, it's going to be where two line segments come together, okay? So this makes an angle, okay? So what you're measuring when you measure the size of an angle, and you're going to use something, you're gonna use a protractor that looks like this. Okay, I have a giant one, so you can see it really good. But, so a protractor is going to measure how much space is between the bottom and how much space is between here. It's like this area here. Okay. Now, if you've ever heard of someone saying like a snowboarder or a skateboarder did like a 360 or they did a 180, okay, they're talking about the degrees in a circle. Okay. So a whole circle has 360 degrees in it, which means that if you went from one side all the way around and you were back to the beginning, there's 360 little tick marks around there. Okay, that's kind of how they measure degrees in degrees. So a 180 would be half of 360. Does that make sense? So you would start here and you'd go here. Okay, so if you were doing a 360 on a snowboard, you would be up and all the way around the way you started and down. If you did a 180, you'd be up and you'd turn and be like backwards and you come down. Does that make sense? Okay. So if we're going to be measuring the distance between this line and this line, that's where the protractor comes in. Okay, so the protractor, let me show you really quick. Okay, the protractor, should I do it backwards? Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Okay, the protractor goes, it's a half of a circle. So if, like we talked about, there's 180 degrees in half. So if you notice, my number goes from 0 all the way up to 180 right here. Okay, so that's half of a circle. If I had two of these together, it would be a full circle, obviously. Okay, so what you do is where your two lines come together, like the very point of your L, that's where this little dot goes. There's a hole in this one. Some protractors just have a little line right there, but that's where this goes. Okay, and I'm gonna show you on my board now. That's this thing right here. Okay, so basically what we're saying is if these two lines started here and this top line opened up, then they want to know how many degrees are between the bottom line and the top line. So to line it up, I'm going to take this, and that goes down here in this corner. And then I have to make sure that my 0 line down here lines up with my bottom line. Because if I start like here, notice I've missed all these degrees in here. These aren't even measuring the span of this line to this line. So I have to make sure that that bottom line is lined up right there. This goes on that corner. It's kind of whacked on this. And then I see how far my numbers come up here. Okay, now there's two numbers here, 60 and 120. I know that a right angle is 90 degrees, right? A perfect L is 90, does that say 90? 90 degrees, okay? So anything less than that is going to be a smaller number, obviously, and anything bigger than a right angle is going to be a higher number. So if I'm trying to figure out on this protractor which it was, 60 or 120, this is obviously a 60-degree angle because this top line hasn't made it to the 90-degree mark yet, okay? It's like traveling, it stopped early. If it kept going and it went straight up, it'd be 90 degrees. It didn't, it stayed there. So it's 60 degrees. The reason why you have two numbers is because this protractor is designed so you can use it going this way, but if your angle was this way, you could also line it up and the numbers go the opposite direction, okay? So that's why there's two numbers there, because angles are going different ways. Now, personally, I just change if I like my angles like this, maybe that's because that's the first time I ever measured an angle. That's how it was. But if I have an angle like this, a lot of times I just turn it so that it's the direction that I like. You can totally do that. Or you can start practicing getting good with using the protractor. Like this one, I would use this way, but this one I would come and use here, and I would make sure that bottom line, which might need to be extended, is lined up with my 0 over here, and then I could see my degrees this way, okay? Either way, if you wanna just turn your book because you think it's easier, then that will work too. Okay, so I'm gonna end this video. I want you to watch this one first, because when we get to the next one, we're going to be looking at side length of triangle, but then on the second page of our lesson, we're going to be looking at the angles of the triangles. So you'll have to have one of these protractors. If you don't have one, I'm sure there's some online you can print out, or I know we're not going to the store right now, really. So anyway, let me know if you don't have one, okay? And you can maybe drop by the school and grab one, because anybody that came and got their stuff, I gave them one to take home. So if you haven't got your stuff yet, then I can let you borrow one, okay? So onward and upward to the next lesson.